Can we speak? No, because it has come on the YouTube.
Just see whenever Dinesh Singh joins.
People who are joining in the YouTube, they're sending messages. Hello, yeah, good morning. I'm so so. उसी में questions आएंगे. So I'll take it now. ठीक है. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Sir, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
FTP of Ramanujan College, sir.
Thank you.
Lataji, are we ready to start?
Yes, sir. Within 2 minutes.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Sir, there are about 6,000 participants who will be who are joining us in this program, and they will be through YouTube, and we will be
We're
talking.
already live, sir. We're already live.
Oh, okay. Live. Okay.
So can we start, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, I'm ready.
And
Just ask Vipin.
am I audible to everyone?
Vipin,
Yes.
we are ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can start. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
A very good morning to all. Respected and honorable chief guest, Padma Shri Dinesh Singh ji, former Vice Chancellor of University of Delhi, Dr. S.P. Agarwal, Principal Ramanujan College, Dr. Sia Sharma, our mentor and guide throughout this journey of faculty induction programs, and dear nearly 6,000 participants from all over India, from Assam to Gujarat, and from Jammu and Kashmir to Kanyakumari, all over India. We have nearly 6,000 participants. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Ramanujan College and on behalf of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, National Mission for Teachers and Teaching. Before we begin our program, a very special word for Professor Dinesh Singh. We all are very indebted to you, sir. Ramanujan College owes its very emergence to you, sir. We were an extended arm of Deshbandhu College morning. We were functioning as Deshbandhu College evening. And it was your vision that you changed the very structure of Ramanujan College, and the seed that you sowed is fast flowering and growing into a beautiful, huge tree. This online FIP, faculty induction program, is one of the proofs that we can give, and everyone at Ramanujan is very proud of this. A very warm welcome once again to you, sir.
Thank you.
This massive online program is seeing the light of the day because of the creativity and visionary approach and hard work of a team of young teachers of our college, Dr. Nikhil Rajput, Dr. Vipin Rathi, Dr. Ashish Shukla, Dr. Aparajita Mazumdar, Dr. Shruti Jain, Dr. Shipra Yadav, Dr. Parul Yadav, and Dr. Abhay. And of course, the youngest of them all is the co-director, Dr. Nirmalya Samanta. But a team's vision and hard work can fructify only when the leader provides all the necessary support, motivation, freedom to think, freedom to implement. And our principal, Dr. S.P. Agarwal, has again and again proven himself as leader with all these qualities. But for his constant support, this wouldn't have been possible. Now, may I invite Dr. S.P. Agarwal, principal of this college, welcome our esteemed guests.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome once again to all of you. Ramanujan, on behalf of Ramanujan College, Padam Shri Professor Dinesh Singh, former VC, renowned mathematician, artist, data analyst, writer. Recently, I saw that he has started writing short stories. My friend and classmate, Dr. Shekhar, my colleague, Dr. Lata, Dr. Samanta, Nikhil, Vipin, and everyone who is joining us today in this program. Our worthy participants joining from all over the country, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some of them may be from abroad. Most of them are from different disciplines. We really don't know, maybe from science, mathematics, arts, commerce, and all disciplines. First of all, I welcome all of you today in this faculty induction program, orientation program, organized by Teaching Learning Center, Ramanujan College, with the technical support of Research Development and Service Center of the college. Sir, if you can recall, we started this journey when 4-year program was started by Delhi University. Your emphasis was on technology. Take you from there. The college prepared itself in the best possible manner to face the challenges of higher education. About 3 years ago, when Ministry of HRD launched a scheme to train teachers, we are one of them to be assigned the centers, and based on our strength, which we acquired through your constant support. Sir, the training is an extremely important part of teachers' career. Of course, you know it, that most of the time we are trained on the job. Even while doing our doctoral degrees, we are not assigned the teaching work. As you know, it is being done in foreign universities. This is highly unfortunate. Rather, we have been trying our best that Indian universities should also adopt that model, that every PhD student must undergo 1 year of training to be assigned in different colleges to teach the class under a good supervisor. I hope we will see it very soon. Sir, we organized about 30 programs in last 3 years, which were classroom-based programs, and we could train about 3,000 teachers from all over India. But when this lockdown happens, actually, the journey started in first week of March itself, before the lockdown. I don't know, our faculty has a hunch that we should train our own faculty first so that they can teach online classes. And we organized few days program. And let me share, sir, with you that our participation in online teaching in our college was 100%. On the other hand, the other institutions were facing a lot of problem in doing online teaching with our students. Sir, from there itself, we thought, let us train the teachers in large numbers. So our young teachers proposed gave a proposal to us that we can, because we tried in the market that let us have a portal which can train 5, 6, 10,000 teachers at a time. But we could not get in such a short time, and the funds required were in crores. But faculty came forward and they developed a portal, which I said we will test it first by doing free online program. And they conducted 2-week free online program for about 16,000 teachers, which were registered, and ultimately 8,000 were certified, because our quality parameters are very high, and we ensure that everybody completes the assignment, MCQ, and test. And sir, you will be glad to know that in last 2 to 3 months, we have already trained 30,000 teachers. And we are planning to reach to 200,000 in times to come. Sir, in this program itself, as Dr. Lata told you, that 6,000 teachers are joining us. And let me tell you that there is a very heavy demand. We did not accommodate more, and we have to launch another program very shortly. Sir, about college, Lata has already told you, but let me, for the information of the participants, it's an undergraduate college, but we are proud of this undergraduate college. We offer about 15 honors courses. We do not offer any pure science courses. Of course, our main plank is mathematics, statistics, computer science, operation research. We offer few skill-oriented courses, several certificate and diploma courses. We are also offering courses in business analytics, which is your foray, sir. We have about 120 faculty members and 100 non-teaching staff who are contributing to the development of this college. Sir, you will be glad to know that we have about 10 centers of excellence, and our research development cell is doing a lot of consultancy work. Sir, we are a very small institution, but we have given consultancy to most of the best institutions, not only in Delhi University, but in other states also. We have given consultancy to my friend's college, Sri Ram College of Commerce also. Sir, we are very good equipped with IT labs. This is again your motivation. When you started giving laptops to the students, we thought that college should have the best IT infrastructure. And we keep on renovating every 2 years. Recently, we have renovated one lab, and another lab approval has been done by the governing body, and we are going to renovate that also. Sir, we are proud to be very highly equipped media lab and studio for recording purposes and doing online courses. About rankings, our rankings are also very good. Besides NAC, we are one of among 100 first colleges of the country in NIRF. India Today ranking around 30th. We are also planning shortly QS rankings. We have signed about 30 MOUs with different stakeholders in the country. Also 2 international MOUs for the benefit of our students. One is with MCI Innsbruck, Austria, which is a top entrepreneurial school, and very shortly some of our students will join their program. We have also tied up with Western Australian University, Sydney. Sir, let me tell you, our students may not top the university, but they are rated best in the country. And we have that proof in our hand that they are one of the best students in the country. Because our emphasis is on quality parameters, not only on result. Again, our rating in teachers training by Ministry of HRD is also the best. We have about 50 teaching learning centers and FDCs all over the country given by Ministry of HRD, but the kind of work done by this small institution in Delhi University is tremendous. They are also surprised how we are able to handle the volume of work which we are doing today. Sir, I'm not taking much of your time and participants' time. Once again, I welcome you and all other participants to this program. I have a word of advice for participants. Please be ready for every rigorous work, because our MCQ assignments, tests will be highly thought-provoking, and unless until you go through it, you will not be able to do it. And once, if you are not able to complete, we are not going to certify you. So please be careful, and let us keep posted if you are facing any problem. Our team will help you in each and every respect. Once again, I am highly thankful to Professor Ganesh Singh, who always take a pain to join us in various programs which this college ventures. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Lata.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Dr. Sia Sharma. He's a distinguished educator, has a broad experience of 39 years in India and overseas in teaching, program development, institution building, financial performance, and business development. He has supervised research at IIT Delhi, Melbourne, and Department of Commerce, Delhi University, and has acted in a consultative capacity to corporations, renowned institutions of higher education, and is a sought after speaker, notably in research methodology, human behavior, and finance. Currently, he's engaged at teaching in SRCC. Earlier, he was director at Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies and JRE Group of Institutions. He looks after the National Resource Center Commerce Discipline, sponsored by MHRD at Sri Ram College of Commerce. Dr. Sia Sharma.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, most respectable Professor Ganesh Singh, Dr. S.P. Agarwal, Principal Ramanujan College, Dr. Lata, Coordinator of this faculty induction program, and dear participants. It's indeed a great pleasure to be associated with this program, which is now addressing as many as 6,000 participants across the country. This induction program originally started 3 years back when Ministry of Human Resource and Development established Teaching Learning Center at Ramanujan College. And since then, as Dr. S.P. Agarwal said, a number of programs have been conducted, and they have been conducted in the conventional classroom teaching mode. Yes, now the times are different, things are different, and therefore new method has been brought into existence, and that is teaching through online. I remember when Professor Ganesh Singh was working very hard for implementing 4-year program, and at that time he was forcing us all to think in diverse ways. And Professor Ganesh Singh used to emphasize very strongly at that point that learning can take place only by experience. For learning to stay, it has to be self-learning. So when the earlier induction programs were organized, those programs were organized with one focus, that we make the students, make the participants experience everything. So it was all activity based, it was on announcement based, and each and every participant was handheld and carried forward. And the focus was on bringing about attitudinal changes so that they could become better teachers. But today, I remember Professor Ganesh Singh, when he used to tell us all in his speeches again and again that no learning can take place without self-learning. Now, today, when we are going online, then the onus of learning has to shift from teacher to the pupil, from the person who is imparting instruction to the person who wants to learn. So it has to be earlier in the induction programs. We were at Ramanujan College hand holding the participants. We were examining, evaluating. Yes, that was a great experience, undoubtedly. It was a great learning experience. It was great teaching experience. But earlier at that time, the onus of teaching was on the teacher. That the teacher would make it, it was the responsibility of the teacher to make sure that the learner actually learns in the direction in which the learner should be learning. The focus was that we help the student or the pupil or the participant to discover his own inner calling, a word that Professor Dinesh Singh again and again used to say. We were doing that, but now things have changed. Now, at that time, if I put it in a different terminology, we were making use of the Prithvi Tattva, which is solid, where we experience, we feel it. But today, we have to function through Akash Tattva, the ethereal element, and through ethereal element we communicate. And we all know that in Upanishads, they say there are 4 forms of communication: Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Bakhari. Now, Bakhari is the communication through the throat, through the word, through the mouth. And they say Madhyama and Pashyanti, gestures and eyes. Through this we communicate. And there is another communication, they say it is mind to mind, the para form of communication, from one mind to another mind. And one mind to another mind, I think this internet technology-based teaching is this communication which is being made possible by the technology from a mind to the mind, where onus of learning will be upon the participants. If they have to be sufficiently motivated to learn and induct themselves into the profession of teaching. Now, as far as teaching is concerned as a profession, we can say this profession rests on a few fundamental pillars. And what are those pillars? First and foremost is the pedagogy, how we teach, how we communicate, how we motivate the student. That is one aspect. And second major pillar is creation of knowledge. That is research. Not only do we have to be the imparters of knowledge, but we have to be the creators of knowledge if we have to justify ourselves as the teachers functioning in institutions of higher learning. The institutions of higher learnings are not just an ordinary extension of the school level teaching. Here, we have to sharpen not only the analytical skills of our students, but also prepare them to be creative. And that creativity can come when we give them knowledge and information which is from the frontiers of knowledge. And frontiers of knowledge information or frontiers of knowledge-based information can be imparted only when we are all actively engaged in creation of knowledge, in active research. And that research has to be integrated with our teaching with the students, if we can accomplish that. So this induction program is so designed as to introduce you to those methods where not only you can become better teachers in terms of pedagogy, innovative pedagogy, but also how you can become good researchers and integrate this research with your everyday practical teaching, so that your students can become not only better citizens, but also better professionals in your professional courses, and they can become better thinkers and idea generators for the greater good of the society. The third pillar of the induction program is that the teachers should understand the governance dimension of the institutions. not only the rules and in this, we cover not only the rules and regulations, but also the softer and major aspects like academic leadership, how it is different from the leadership which is otherwise. We as teachers are leaders in different ways. We are first leader in the classroom. Then we are leaders of the students for guiding them in their extracurricular activities, where we impart them a value system which makes them better student, better person, better team player, a better individual who is prepared to contribute out of the way. And thirdly, leadership as leaders of the educational institutions. So a peep shall be given to you in this particular program regarding the academic leadership is different levels, layers, aspects, and dimensions. And of course, when we induct you into this, a teacher is looked upon not only as creator of knowledge, not only as imparter of knowledge, but also as counselor. So how you should counsel? It is a very technical thing. It is a very specialized area. Yes, induction program will not make you an expert into this, but it will give you a very important peek into this, an insight into this. It will give you a direction into which you can develop and evolve yourself eventually to be the counselors also. And finally, one aspect which is often ignored. When we talk of the teacher, we talk of teacher as a model individual, as a great individual, as a role model. But we always forget while looking at the teacher that the teacher is also a human being. Teacher is a father, teacher is a mother, a brother, a son, a friend, and has multiple roles in the societies to play. That is, he has a personal life where trials, tribulations, tensions, stresses of different kind impinge upon him, press upon him, while maintaining highest degree of standards as expected by the society, by the students, by fellow teachers, and by everybody else. So management of personal life, that is also very important. Gaining life skills is also very important for the teachers because of these diverse roles and diverse expectations from the society from him, which are of very high order. So this induction program will give you a peek, will give you an insight into your personal management, how to manage on aspects like how to manage stress, what life skills you will require to manage yourself, the diverse demands of your own personal creativity, that you have to create something new through research, and of course, managing the creativity of your students, managing, counseling the students 24 hours, and preparing yourself every day for greater and greater knowledge. So you are always lost into the ocean of managing personal and others' creativity and maintaining highest moral standard and moral code. And in such circumstances, conflicts of different kind, stresses of different kind, demands of different kind come forth in the life of the teachers. So this aspect also has been made a part of this induction program. So these pillars, my dear friends, will be these pillars. On these pillars, this induction program has been built up. And I do sincerely hope that as in the past, this program will also be successful. I'm very proud to say, and it goes to the credit of the organizers and managers and principal of Ramanujan College, that in all the programs that were organized, all the induction programs that were organized, there was palpable and solid observation by the people who participated and the people who worked with the people who participated, that a true, real, positive attitudinal change came in the people. And their way of functioning underwent a transformational and substantial change after attending those programs. I am sure that we are not hand-holding this time. We are dependent on you, the participants, that you will give your maximum to learn. And onus of learning that is being now placed upon you through this new mode of learning, through this new adaptation and change circumstances, you will come up to that. You will rise to the occasion and learn the maximum possible from this program. And I'm sure that each one of you will emerge as a superior teacher, superior researcher, superior person, superior individual, superior team player, and a superior contributor to the education of your own institutions in particular and the societal landscape in particular. With these words, I thank Dr. S.P. Agarwal for giving me this opportunity of talking to your participants and, of course, coming in interaction with Professor Dinesh Singh after such a long time. And I do sincerely hope that this program will also be as greatly successful as the programs in the past were. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Dr. Lata.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar.
Thank you, sir. Before we move on, a word for the participants. You are watching this live on YouTube. So if you have any questions, you can post on the chat. And before I invite Professor Dinesh Singh, I would also like to tell you about the rules. The daily assignments and quizzes have to be finished by the given deadline. At least 90% of the total given quizzes and assignments individually have to be attempted to get the certificate. Average score of quizzes must be at least 40% for the certificate. Fee verification is a must in order to get the certificate, and participants can be asked to provide the proof of the same anytime during the course. Filling up the daily feedback form is compulsory. Participants will have to ensure internet facility at their end. The organizers will not be responsible for any internet-related issues at the participants' end. We have pasted it in various platforms, all these rules, but still we keep getting questions. That is why I thought I will read out the questions. Now, Professor Dinesh Singh. The chief guest for the event, Professor Dinesh Singh, is former Vice Chancellor of the University of Delhi. He is also an eminent mathematician. He is a distinguished professor at Shulini University, Solan, Chancellor at K.R. Mangalam University, Gurgaon, Honorary Professor, IIIT, Delhi, Adjunct Professor at University of Houston, and Distinguished Academic Consultant at Middlesex University, London. He has been affiliated with the University of Delhi for more than 3 decades now. He's a learned person and has written and edited varied books and monographs. Professor Singh has also published research papers in referred national and international journals. He's a thinker, policymaker, and implementer. He has been conferred with honorary degrees from prestigious universities abroad, like University of Houston, National University of Ireland, University of Edinburgh, and National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra, India. He has been honored with Padma Shri in 2014 for distinguished service to the field of literature and education. Professor Dinesh Singh.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind introduction, Lataji, Dr. Agarwal, Dr. Sharma, Vipinji, Lataji, and participants. I am deeply honored to have been asked to be present at this event, and I believe it is a reaffirmation of our faith in the way things must go forward, particularly in these times. When I was listening to Dr. Agarwal and then Dr. Sharma, I told myself that I should have enrolled as a participant here. It would have been an occasion for renewal for me. All of us need constant renewal. And it is through this renewal that we are reborn with some reaffirmation of our faith in the purpose that we have undertaken to educate and train young minds. I'm delighted that I'm able to speak to a large audience And this is one of the great advantages of technology, and the Ramanujan College has taken advantage with complete enthusiasm and dedication. They are pioneers, at least at the University of Delhi, in the use of technology for learning purposes. And I congratulate Dr. Agarwal and his team. Dr. Agarwal mentioned something about his students. You know, as they say in English, the proof of the pudding lies in its eating. And if you have to judge Ramanujan College, let us not look at anything but just the products of the college. And I have interacted with students of Ramanujan College over a fairly long period of time. And I can vouch for the quality, energy, and intellectual insights that they bring into any discussion. And that is the hallmark of a good institution. We don't need any other certificate. All other things are just bonuses. So congratulations to you, Dr. Agarwal, and to your team for marvelous work. I know that this is a program where we are supposed to undertake exercise with teachers across the nation to try and figure, to learn ways and means by which we could all enhance our capabilities as teachers. And why must we do that? As I said at the beginning, that is a source of renewal for all of us. It makes us better at our job. And what is our job? It is business of education. And I mean business in a very enlightened way, not a commercial transaction. All that is secondary. So our purpose is to educate. And we need to become good at it. We need to become good at creating great education. But if you really wish to do that, then I think it is important that all of us get together and ask this question of ourselves. What is education? And Dr. Sharma hinted at what I always say about education. And I don't mind repeating it here, because for me as a mathematician, that is my axiom. And I base everything I say, everything I construct on this single axiom. So let me define education for everyone present here today. It is nothing but a personal journey for the individual, and the journey is inwards. As they say in Hindi, ye antaratma ki khoj hai. It is a journey inwards to discover the drumbeat of your soul. And I believe that every individual's soul has a drumbeat. And when that individual discovers that drumbeat, when he listens to that drumbeat, and he starts marching in the real world in step with the drumbeat, in harmony with the drumbeat, then he begins to get educated. That's all there is to it. That is how education happens. Now you can ask me, what does this have to do with a school, a university, a college, an institution? Believe me, it has nothing to do with that. Let me explain to you why I say that. So let me give you some examples when I say how this allows a person to get educated. You know, Srinivas Ramanujan, when he was in school, and because this college is named after Srinivas Ramanujan, one of the greatest mathematicians that the history of the world will ever see. And as far as I know, this is the only undergraduate institution in India that is named after Ramanujan. Therefore, I begin with his example. For me personally, he is a god. When he was about 13 or 14 years of age, he was in school in a small, tiny hamlet called Kumbakonam, where he was born. One day, he chanced upon a book, a very ordinary book on mathematics. In today's parlance, in today's words, we would call it a tuition center book. He came across that book by chance, Carr's Synopsis of Mathematics. And that book excited his drumbeat, the drumbeat of his soul. Suddenly, it resonated with what was his soul telling him. Suddenly, he realized this is what he must do in life. This is what he must adhere to. In other words, he discovered his swadharma, his inner calling. And then once you discover that, you have to march in the real world with complete dedication in step with this drumbeat. What did he do? He began to practice, to study, to do mathematics, regardless of the consequences. This is something like what Mirabai said. When she heard drumbeat, told her that Krishna Bhakti is her religion, her dharma, her dedication. And then Mira said, Mira ke Prabhu Giridhar Nagar Dujha na koe. To the exclusion of everything else, I will pursue Krishna Bhakti. Ramanujan pursued mathematics Bhakti to the exclusion of everything else. That is what is meant by marching in harmony with the drumbeat of your soul. And Ramanujan did that. And there are many things needed to do this properly. And that is how you begin to get educated. I have no idea how many of you know, but he had no university degree until finally when he went to Cambridge, without enrolling anywhere, without taking any examinations, without writing any dissertation, Cambridge University straight away gave him a PhD. That's a different matter. But he had no formal education in that sense. He had never succeeded in getting any university degree in India. So when I told you my definition, I also said that it has really nothing much to do with an institution, an affiliation, a college, or a university. And I'll tell you why I'm going to bring this story down to where an institution plays a role. But let me give you some more examples. Sachin Tendulkar, you know, he has no qualifications beyond high school. Even that he took with some difficulty. Tendulkar, very young at age, I think about 10 or 11 years of age, he suddenly saw some cricket being played, and that resonated with his heart, with the drumbeat of his soul. And he told himself, this is what I want to do in life. But that's not enough. Just as Ramanujan, it was not enough for him to just say, I want to do mathematics. He began to practice mathematics. Similarly, Tendulkar began to adhere to his inner calling and began to play cricket. How much cricket? Hours on end, day after day, with complete dedication to the exclusion of everything else. So much so that he could not go beyond high school in terms of formal education. But he adhered to his inner calling and marched in the real world by practicing cricket day after day. The same applies to Mahatma Gandhi. When he was in the 6th grade, I think, very small, he suddenly happened to see a play. The play on the life of Raja Harishchandra. Satyavadi Raja Harishchandra was the title of the play. And Gandhi, when he saw the play, it excited his inner drumbeat and he began to hear the drumbeat within. What did that drumbeat tell him? It told him, adhere to the truth. That is your calling. Adhere to the truth. Adhere to the truth. And Gandhi then began to adhere to the truth. That very night when he came home, he took a vow that I will adhere to the truth for the rest of my life, no matter what the cost, no matter what price I have to pay. And he then began to practice that in his real life. Immediately, you will find so many instances of Gandhi's life when he adheres to the truth from this very young age. I will give you just one example. In the 7th grade, when Gandhi was in school, an Englishman who came to inspect the school entered Gandhi's class. And he asked the class to spell a certain word in English. The students began to write the spelling. Gandhi did not know the spelling and he could not write it. Gandhi's class teacher saw that Gandhi cannot write the spelling and he was a little nervous that if the Englishman finds out that there are students who cannot write the spelling, he may give some negative opinion of the class teacher. So the class teacher came to Gandhi and indicated through some hints to copy the spelling from the classmate sitting next to Gandhi. But Gandhi refused. You know, at that age, we are always in awe of our school teachers. We are always a little afraid of them. We are always very respectful towards them. And we then tend to do what they ask us to do. Here is this class teacher telling Gandhi, copy from your friend sitting next to you, and Gandhi refused. That is what I mean, marching in the real world in harmony and dedication to the drumbeat. That is how you begin to get educated. I don't know how many of us know over here that Gandhi had no university degree. There is this misconception people have that he had a law degree from some university in England. No, he just qualified by clearing an examination to practice law. It does not come to him from any university. He had no degree beyond high school. So the three examples that I have given you, who will disagree with me when I say they were highly educated people? There are so many things in common with them. And the most important thing that we must understand is that they understood the drumbeat. And then they marched in sincerity and complete dedication in harmony with this drumbeat in the real world, ready to pay any price. All three of them. And look, when Ramanujan said, I will do mathematics, he was not trying to become the greatest mathematician of his time and one of the greatest in the history of mathematics. No, he was just doing it because that was his means of offering prayer, of offering obeisance to his religion. In other words, his religion was practice mathematics. He was not looking for fame. He was not looking for money. That was not his desire. Just complete sincerity to the exclusion of everything else to practice mathematics. Similarly, Tendulkar. He didn't say that I will do cricket so that I can become Bharat Ratna and I will become famous and I will make a lot of money. No, he was not looking for that. His dharma was cricket and he practiced it with complete sincerity and dedication. Similarly with Mahatma Gandhi, when he took that vow of Satya, adherence to Satya, he did not say, therefore now I will become father of the nation. He was not looking for anything. This is called, without seeking rewards, complete adherence to your dharma. That is how you begin to get educated. Now the question arises, then why are we sitting here, all of us talking to each other? If this is it, let us all go home and let everyone find his dharma. But you know, for ordinary people like us, I am certainly aware of this, and I'm sure many of us would be aware of this. It is not easy to find the inner calling. Remember, in all the examples I gave you, Tendulkar, Ramanujan, and Mahatma Gandhi, there was this external stimulus that then awakened the drumbeat within the calling of the soul. That is where we as teachers and we in an institution have a role to play. We have to provide a platform through which we expose young minds to many drumbeats, so that they will then find something there which resonates with them. That is what you need to do. In today's world, you need to do that as teachers. Create a platform of drumbeats. I always liken this to an experiment we used to conduct in school, in the physics lab with tuning forks. You take a tuning fork, strike it against the edge of a table, and it emits a sound, a frequency. You take another tuning fork and you strike that. If they are not in harmony, a discordant note is generated. And if they are in harmony, suddenly a nice harmonious thing descends upon us. In exactly the same way, when you expose young minds to several drum beats, to several frequencies, one of them will be in harmony with his frequency inside, and that will then generate his path and his dharma in life. That is where an institution comes into play. I'm going to come to the use of technology in a short while, and I will tell you how we can use that. But let me just add one more thing. When we get them to embark on this journey, and this has nothing to do with technology, it can happen in every way, on every platform, as long as you know this is what needs to be done. I urge each one of you to keep this in mind. So what are the tools that will allow you to make this happen? And you know, we don't have to look very far. All these things are there. It is just that we don't seem to notice, we don't seem to absorb. You know, the first thing we must understand, as I told you, for us, knowledge is our religion. That is our dharma. And you pursue a dharma so that your God comes to you. Our God is through knowledge. And that God will never come to you unless you become humble in life. Kabir said it so beautifully. Jab main tha tab hari nahi. Ab hari hai jab main nahi. That, you know, when I had this huge ego, there was no room for my God. So the first thing is to become humble, to take away your pride so that there is room for your God to come in and settle inside you. You look at Ramanujan, how humble he was. You look at Tendulkar. Have you ever seen him being vain? Has he ever boasted? Never. Every time he scored a century and they asked him, he said, my team played very well. In fact, they joke about him that every time he does something, they say, he only responds, no, my team played very well. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Humility always seeking. That is the first thing we must understand. We should be humble and we should let our students know that we don't know. This is so important for us. We are forever as teachers conscious of this, that we must give them this image that we know everything. That doesn't work. One of the greatest teachers of all times, Socrates. When the oracle at Delphi tells Socrates that you are the wisest in the land, do you know what Socrates does? He doesn't go about boasting that I am the wisest. He doesn't beat his chest. Socrates is mystified. Why does the oracle say that I am the wisest? And then he seeks an answer. And he searches and he searches and he talks to all the people he thinks who are wise. Finally, Socrates understands. He realizes that he is the only one in the land who knows that he does not know. Do you understand that? That is the first thing a teacher must realize. Again, this has nothing to do with IT or a classroom or anything. You want to succeed, let us be humble and let us be ready to accept that we don't know many things. That this is a journey for all of us together, the learner and the one who's trying to make them learn. That is the first lesson you must carry with you, whether you are using technology or anything else. That's what Socrates did. Once he realized this, and all the great ones have said it. Ghalib, this great poet, and by the way, Ghalib's poetry is extremely spiritual. If you can read translations, if you don't know Urdu, just read some of his translations. There's deep spirituality in it. At the end of his life, what does he say? Jana ki kuch na jana. Jana ki kuch na jana, wah bhi ek umr mein. What does it mean? I have learned that I have learned nothing. I have learned that I know nothing. And that also took me a lifetime to learn. So I spent a lifetime learning that I have not learned anything. All of them say that. Please keep this in mind. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Because when I ask you to follow certain things and tools and techniques, particularly from technology, you must keep this in mind. Then there are other things you must understand. And there, our answers come to us from the heritage we have received from our own land, this land that we call Bharat or India. Everything seems to be there in our past from which we can inspire ourselves and often find a way forward. Why was India known as a knowledge power? Did you know that India in the past was a knowledge economy? If you look at Angus Madison's monumental work on the economic history of the world, in which he maps with hard data from the 1st century till the end of the 17th century, the economic history of the whole world. And what does he realize? That India dominated global GDP. All through these 1700 years, India dominated global GDP. China was second. And between India and China, they contributed almost 50% of global GDP. Why was this happening? Because India was a knowledge economy. And there is knowledge that has been put into play in the real world. That is the second lesson we must realize. What have we become today? Whether we use IT, whether we use digital techniques, or we speak in the classroom, we have divested knowledge systems from the real world. Generally, as teachers, we walk into a classroom, we give a lecture, we write something on the board, and the teachers take notes, and then they go away. And does it help? Is it connected to the real world? Hardly. Believe me, hardly. Have you ever tried to understand that what we are giving to them, will it help them find their drumbeat? Will they therefore pursue their dharma and become happy, not rich, not powerful, happy in the sense of being contented in life? Will they contribute meaningfully to society? I don't think we think about that. As teachers, whether you use technology or the classroom or whatever, keep this in mind. That is when it will come in handy for us. Why should we do that? I told you that for someone to find the drum beat, they have to use their hands. Our knowledge has gradually become blackboard oriented, so theoretical, hardly connected to the world. But India was not like that in the past. That is the lesson we must understand. That is why we became a knowledge economy. That is why there was so much happiness and prosperity in our land in the centuries gone by. And our ancient texts give us this wisdom in such deep, powerful, practical ways. Dr. Sharma cited the Upanishads. Let me give you a true story. The Upanishads are recordings of historical teachers, great gurus. You look at the Chandogya Upanishad, my favorite Upanishad. And I'll tell you why I'm telling you this, because we are teachers, you may need to imbibe that. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is this historical recording of a dialogue between a young pupil trying to enter the Gurukul or university of a great teacher, Gautam Haridruman. A 12-year-old boy comes to seek admission. Please understand, in India, in the days gone by, we did not send our children for education till they were of age 12. Till then, they were largely homeschooled. That is the first lesson we have forgotten. I don't want to comment too much on this. We have come so much under the influence of Western thoughts. And by the way, there are many things good about Western thoughts. I'm not running them down. But we must always, as Mahatma Gandhi said, take the best from everywhere. There was much wisdom in what we used to do in India when we homeschooled the child till age 12. And I know many students in Delhi who are now being homeschooled. They don't go to school in the regular sense. And believe me, they are so impressive. They are so wise. They are so good. There is much wisdom there. Anyway, this boy of 12 goes to the Gurukul of Gautam Haridruman and he seeks admission. And Haridruman says, now here is something I want you to understand. Again, there is nothing. I want you to imbibe the philosophical principle behind this. Haridruman tells the child, we admit only Brahmins. What is your lineage? And the boy says, I asked this question of my mother when I set forth for your Gurukul. And she told me, I have worked as a maid in many homes. Many men have taken advantage of me. I have no idea who your father is. But you should proclaim yourself with pride that you are Satyakam, son of the maid Jabala. And when he says this to Haridruman, guess what Haridruman says? Enter, child. You are a true Brahman. A Brahman is not by birth. Brahmans are only by adherence to the truth. Here is the lesson we must learn. Haridruman takes this enlightened test and he grades Satyakam in this enlightened manner which enables Satyakam. Satyakam realizes that adherence to the truth is a great virtue. This test enables Satyakam. What have we done to testing in our times? We are forever trying to test students, forever trying to topple them, forever trying to make sure they trip, forever trying to torture them with tests. Our examination systems are designed to disable our students. We hardly ever think of an exam like the one Haridruman conducted, and we hardly ever grade with this enlightened insight that will enable the child. We don't do that. That is the other lesson we must imbibe from this example. But look what happens after this. As soon as Satyakam is admitted, Haridruman does not say, go now, recite the Vedas, memorize them. No. Do you know what he does? He gives him 300 head of cattle. And he says, go into the forest and do not return until they become 1,000-fold. You know, this is a practical exercise. It is a project. It is a hands-on transdisciplinary project connected to the needs of the real world. This is transdisciplinary, hands-on, as I've been saying repeatedly in my life. And it is connected to the needs of the real world. And that is where knowledge really comes to us. It's a two-way process. Knowledge must always connect to the needs and challenges of the real world. And the needs and the challenges of the real world will provide us all the possible drum beats, which will then go inside different hearts in different ways and excite their own inner callings. That is what Satyakam had to do. Haridruman realized this child. Incidentally, Haridruman understood, he was a great guru, that Satyakam was in close harmony with cattle. And by the way, in those days, wealth was measured in terms of how much cattle you owned, even for kingdoms. If you remember the Virat battle in the Mahabharata, it's all about cattle. The Kaurav army comes and seizes the entire cattle of the Virat kingdom. It's all about cattle. So this is a project in wealth management. Dr. Sharma will heartily agree with that. It's a project in wealth management, but it is hands-on, connected to the real world. And when Satyakam goes into the forest and does not return till they become 1,000 in number, when he returns, Hari Drumat says, there is knowledge and enlightenment on your face. You have already become trained and knowledgeable. Tell me who taught you. That is what I'm trying to say, that in the Indian tradition, knowledge, skills, and the real world were all in harmony. Skills and knowledge were two sides of the same coin. And what have we done with our educational systems? We have divested them from this business of skills. We look at skills as something demeaning, as something lower, as something inferior. And we do not wish to connect it with knowledge. And then knowledge dries up. Skills and knowledge feed upon each other. If you look at the lives of all the great people in the world, whomsoever you admire, you will find that all of them were extraordinarily skilled with the use of their hands. Look at Kabir, he was a weaver. Mahatma Gandhi was forever using his hands. Rabindranath Tagore, extraordinarily gifted with his hands. Isaac Newton, gifted craft person, that allowed him to understand light because he was using his own hands to create his experiments, from where he then understands gravitation. Einstein, extraordinarily gifted with his hands. He invented the world's first modern safe refrigerator, for which he held a patent. He invented the world's first automatic camera. He had 50 patents and inventions to his credit, in addition to relativity. All of them. Mendel, a perfectly gifted gardener. That is why he could understand the laws of genetics, because he grew the pea plants personally, generation after generation. And he was good at mathematics. He was good at statistics. So he did deep data analysis. Here is botany, data analysis, mathematics, and hands-on, transdisciplinary and connected to the world, growing plants. That is the lesson we must imbibe. These are the things that will allow our students to look within. So our first thing, if you really want to become good teachers, whether you use technology or you don't, is to make sure that your curriculum is so designed that, first of all, do not overstuff the child. Do not kill him with too much of this. You must know this and you must know that. This is a lifelong journey and it will still not end. You look at Ramakrishna Paramhans, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, called Ramakrishna Paramhans a living God. And what does this living God say about himself? That so long as I live, I learn. This process of learning never ends. So why are you so insistent on teaching everything and stuffing the poor child's mind with all kinds of useless things? What you should do is excite him enough so that he learns how to learn. That is the most important thing. Now, these are the principles. And incidentally, our ancient Mimamsa school of philosophy says this with so much clarity. It says knowledge without action is meaningless. This is exactly what Hari Drumat did. This is what enabled India to become such a knowledge superpower that our economy was doing so well. For all kinds of reasons, these are the tools you must imbibe. Now comes the question, is technology going to help us in this or will it hinder us? Believe me, if you imbibe these principles, then no matter which platform you use, you will enable your students and you will enable yourself in this journey. That is what I want you to understand. Not only will you enable your students, become fellow travelers with them. Or aapka bhi uddhar hoga. You will also be elevated spiritually. You will also move towards your God. Please believe me on that. So how do we use technology? You know, in these times, as I speak with you, it would have been far better if I could have given you a project to find out what really enlightened Hari Drumat, Satyakam, what happened. And I just give you some questions. And I ask you if you can give me a practical exercise in wealth management, which is transdisciplinary and connected to the real world. Use the web, use your computer and come back to me in 1 week. And I would say, divide yourselves in groups of 5. And I would give you one hint. Look at one of the Upanishads and I will give you a keyword, Satyakam. Now you go back, you start searching the web and you will find the story of Satyakam and Hari Drumat and in the Chandogya Upanishad. You will see this exercise on project management. I am not teaching you. I'm not burdening you with a lecture. I have given you a project. What would I do then? So I'm not only going to exercise this through the laptop and the IT tool that I have with you. No, your job is then to see by going to various places, what exactly does it take to make sure that cattle thrive? What are the features? And you will learn lessons in biology, you will learn lessons in heredity, you will learn lessons in genetics, you will learn lessons about how to take care of yourself, you will learn lessons in forest management, you will learn so many things. If I were addressing students who were doing something in life sciences, this is what I would do. That is where with technology, I can do so many things because technology allows me to access different sources from across the web and the whole world in a countless number of ways. You will have access to everything. That is where this is a powerful tool. I call the web a university in itself. If you learn how to use it creatively, I have conducted so many exercises. You know, one time I gave a project to a group of school children. I said, figure out what happened to Alexander when he set forth for his journey for India. Why? Why did Alexander go back suddenly? Don't look at any books. I want you to see many sources, and I divided them into groups of 5 each, gave them 1 week's time, and I said, make a presentation to me. I also wish to learn. And these children then worked upon this exercise, and they discovered so many things. You know, they realized that Alexander came up to the Bias River and did not cross the Bias River. They looked at sources and they discovered that Alexander did not cross the Bias River because the powerful, undefeated Magadhan army with 40,000 elephants and many more thousands of cavalry and much more numbers of footmen was waiting across the Bias River, waiting eagerly to give battle to Alexander. Alexander's spies had gone across the river, learned this, and they came back and they told him. These children discovered it through reliable sources on the web, and they made presentations to me, and we double-checked the authenticity of the data. And this is so different from the history that we are taught in our mundane textbooks about why Alexander went back because his soldiers were tired. Forget that. Then there is something interesting that comes to you, again, from reliable, authentic sources on the web on Alexander's journey. When he was returning, Porus gifts him 100 talents of steel, the famous wood steel of India. I don't know if you are aware that this wood steel dominated global steel market for centuries. It was exported all across the world, and it brought back enormous gold into India. So the children became curious about what is this wood steel? Why was Alexander, who was otherwise quite unhappy that he had to return, being afraid of the Magadhan army, suddenly became happy when Porus gifted him this wood steel? Because that steel was also used to make swords. The famous Damascus sword is nothing but steel from India, forged at Damascus into a sword. That's where it was gaining its real reputation from. And these children became curious about the wood steel process. What was it? And why don't we make that steel here? And they discovered so many things along the way in chemistry, in metallurgy. My job was, this was just a project. My job was to just talk to them, listen to their presentations, and exclaim to them that, God, I didn't know this. My God, this is so interesting. Let's make sure the source is authentic. I also gave a bunch of college children in my university many years ago an exercise on finding out how we can make ice without using electrical power. And they came back to me excited. They discovered that the Mughals used to make ice here in Chandni Chowk in the night of the winter, using the cold of bitter winter nights to convert water into ice in underground crevices and underground spaces that they created. Then they would bury that in the winter, in hermetically sealed, insulated completely, and then they would use that ice in the summer months. But then the journey started. They worked out the economics of the process, they worked out the physics of the process, the chemistry of the process. Then they discovered all kinds of experiments going on in the world around us, all through technology. No one went anywhere. Then they finally decided they will try and make ice themselves. That's where the hands-on transdisciplinary nature comes. very little teaching on my part. The point is, can I do this? Yes. If you redesign your curriculum, where does technology come into redesigning the curriculum? Make good enlightened curricula that connects with different areas. We talk so much about Mendel and his laws of genetics. I don't need technology for this, but I've never come across a school or a college where they actually grow pea plants generation after generation to show how heredity is transmitted, how the laws of genetics become evident to us. No practical experiment has been done. At least I don't know any institution in India that does this. Technology just makes it easier, and there will be hundreds of presentations in technology, through technology, where many institutions must have done this. I have never checked this, but I'm willing to wager, and you will find sources on the web. Sometimes in the COVID crisis, I asked a bunch of college teachers who were teaching mathematics, tell me, how will you estimate the chances of an Indian? What is the probability of the Indian getting coronavirus infection? Is it greater or less than dying through a road accident? They were clueless. And these are teachers who have been teaching probability statistics to college students for years. I told them to access data across the world to see what patterns are emerging with corona crisis and whether this pattern will help us gain insight. And it does. I handled all this data, and finally I made a prediction on the 1st of May that by the end of May, Dharavi will come out of the corona problem. And you look at the data now, and I'm not God, I just looked at simple data, did data analysis, and I understood the pattern Dharavi will follow. And you check the data now, Dharavi is cooling down. The infection rate has come down so much in Dharavi. If we do this with our children, and you can use technology, I've done this repeatedly through technology, you will gain so much insight for yourself and for your children. IT, a search engine, databases across the world, they're all available to us. It's a huge tool. My final thing, about 5 months ago, I picked up 2 college children of Delhi University. They were studying subjects like Hindi. They had never handled a laptop. They didn't even know what IT means. They used to spend all their time playing with TikTok on their simple smartphones. I gifted them a laptop each, enabled that laptop, each laptop with software, and then personally, in my office here where I'm seated today with you, I gave them a 1-hour introduction to Excel. Simple. Well, I'm not an expert in Excel. That's simple. I introduced them to search engines. I introduced them to YouTube. Then I tossed a coin and I asked them, if I toss, will it be a head or a tail as outcome? They said, we don't know. I said, what happens if I toss it 500 times? So we'll have to toss and see. Very good. Can you toss? They said, well, 500 we can do. Will you see a pattern emerging? They said, we don't know what you mean. I said, okay, go home, toss the coin 100,000 times each day for the next 7 days and tell me what observations you make. And they were staggered. They said, how can we do that? I told them, type some keywords on YouTube, look for certain videos that teach you how to use Excel to create these experiments. And I showed them some simple things, all together 2 hours, that's it. Gave them the laptops, gave them access to the internet, they went away. I had given them 1 week's time, they came back to me in 4 days. They had understood how to design this experiment in Excel, and then they tossed the coin through Excel 100,000 times, many times, and each time they realized that the number of heads is almost half, and the number of tails, therefore, is almost half. That's how they understood that probability of a head is half. See that? That is the power of technology. I urge you with folded hands to imbibe all these lessons, and you will find nothing but good rewards descending upon you and your children. So remember, I finally end now. We must make sure that we get a platform that allows them to peek inside, to find the drumbeat, and to do that, we have to expose them to many drumbeats, for which we must create a good curriculum that does not overload, is hands-on, is transdisciplinary, is connected to the needs and challenges of the world, and then use technology as an enabling device, as I have demonstrated here. And much good will descend upon this country. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It is always a pleasure listening to you, sir. and ever inspiring. We can go on like this for the whole day. Thank you very much, sir. And we have been getting messages on chats. And if you permit, maybe we can just take one question, sir.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't claim I will have any answers, okay?
No, sir, just I think they have combined together a few questions, and if they have
Okay.
one question we can take, I think, within this time limit. The teachers are saying that in class, we always find students full of anxiety about their future, their employment, their jobs, and parents putting excess pressure also on top of this. So how do we handle this? This is one question.
I think teachers must, be bedrocks of stability and wisdom. If you discover who you are, you will never fail in life, whatever your definition of success. And the students must be told, and it doesn't happen in one day, one meeting, one lecture, one interaction. But if you give them a good curriculum through which they start discovering who they are, then their confidence grows. It's not something to be done like this. There is no magic wand. But once you discover who you are, like Tendulkar's self-confidence was so strong that he said, I don't care for any university qualification. Why? Because he had discovered what gave him pleasure, what gave him strength, what built his mind and spiritual, instincts, playing cricket and playing it with complete dedication. You start doing that, you will find that your children will start becoming less anxious, will have greater faith in themselves rather than strange external embellishments. And then your answers will come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. If Professor Dr. Sumit Agarwal, sir, if you want to propose a formal vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor Dinesh Singh.
Sir, again, let me tell you, you have enlightened us, and I'm sure that all the participants must have been enlightened. And I will request Dr. Lata that he has given some practical projects. Let us see if we can use with this lot, or we can use it in future programs. We will take his help in, once the projects are done. So, sir, I don't know, we do not have any words to express the passion with which you speak, the passion with which you give the examples, the hands-on, the projects. I think it's a wonderful thing. All of us get knowledge out of it. Probably we will somehow use this knowledge in our classrooms. And I'm sure these 6,000 teachers will be enlightened, and they will be using some of it in their classroom. And once again, we assure you that we will definitely work on the problems you have posed today. And thank you very much. I welcome once again all the participants, thank them for joining this program, and all the colleagues, Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Samanta, Dr. Nikhil, and Dr. Vipin, and other colleagues who are instrumental in organizing this month-long program. Once again, sir, thank you very much, and we will again be troubling you for our programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Agarwal. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you very much, sir. And we must, thank you, sir. And
you.
also, before ending this meeting, I would also like to tell you, sir, this passion is infectious, and it took us down to Ramanujan College. Thank you very much.
Thank you.